Jesse, thank you. That was glorious to watch.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really
Stay
was.
with us though, so
very
that you
much.
can see Anne's work too.
Absolutely.
Everybody, cancel your video. Okay. Ladies, you can take it away with Anne.
Oh, so you can start anytime. Just start your monologue, do your monologue, and then we will give you some pointers
Okay.
afterwards.
Is this okay right about here?
That's great.
Okay. I'm sorry there's so much stuff in the background.
Oh, you're fine.
You have no idea what it means to live for something slightly larger than yourself. So anything I say in my defense will sound like a foreign language to you. We could discuss all night the definition of what makes a good parent, and still you wouldn't understand what I'm saying or agree. But yes, I am sure that in your version of what constitutes a good mother, I have failed you in every possible way. You're right. But what appalls me and depresses me is that you have never once tried to think, not really, not honestly, Peter, what it was like for me then. I mean, in Florence, when he took you away from me. In that way, you have consistently quite catastrophically failed at any practice of imagination. Your father would be proud of you.
Okay, great. So what have you been learning about Chekhov before I just start saying stuff?
I've been doing some acting coaching with Jamie Koth for the last year. So we've worked on multiple things, but he has along the way I've read the first 5 chapters. We've gone through a lot of that stuff, but I haven't really been able to practice a lot of it in relationship to any real material. So even to like pick out some, you're all calling them PGs now, so I'll call them PGs. To pick out some of those and introduce these into this work, I've played around with that a little bit, but there were gestures yesterday that I've never seen before. In the presentation. So I'm very, very new at this and am here to learn. So I was really looking forward to this first year. I was really disappointed.
Okay, great. So did he go over crossing the threshold with you?
He did.
Okay. So you had, so we could start with that. Did you cross the threshold when you started?
Kind of. Yeah.
Do you remember what crossing the threshold is? Oh, Lionel, you're wanting to say something?
No, I was just gonna.
What?
I think he fell out.
Okay. Sorry, it just made me laugh. Kind of crossing the threshold.
Yeah. Okay. So
kind of like the hokey pokey, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I just don't have a lot of practice with it yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And I was distracted again by the filming thing. So, but I would love to know what the difference is between that moment when you find your ideal center and cross into the threshold. Crossing the threshold, I mean.
Okay. So could you stand back up again?
Yes.
And so when you're before you cross the threshold, when you're stepping into being ready, stepping into your actor center, stepping into the presence of being able to love a performance instead of versus when you're back here, this is everyday mojo, blah blah blah, and I'm paraphrasing. But then when you step into and cross the threshold, you're crossing into that space of the actor center, ready to work. So when you do that, allow that breath to come in, so then you can get centered first and breathe into it, and breathing into that space.
Okay.
And then breathing into everything is always centered with love. And so that's why you may see, I'm not sure if this even helps, just warming up, putting your hands to your heart to really focus yourself with the ideal center, so then you can be connected from this source and this inspiration. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So even just literally, if you could back up, do you see me? Because I'm not even.
Yes.
And then stepping in, you can even warm your hands up and breathing in, breathing out. Breath is life. And really just focusing on the work at hand. And then putting your hand on your heart, both your hands on your heart. And breathing in, breathing out.
Okay.
And opening your hands out. So your heart is stepping into that place of readiness.
You want to feel that impulse come from that ideal center to take you over the threshold, because then you really know you're ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And
About what? I'm sorry.
oh no, you're fine. I didn't even want to interrupt you because it was looking as if you're getting into that place. But I'd say once you're in that place and once your heart moves you into this space, then begin the monologue. Really see where you're going into that space. So then that breath is you're already centered as the actor, centered in being able to go and play with the monologue.
Okay.
So
Did I?
that's just a starting point for you. And then for PGs,
Actor,
your actor
sorry.
center. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Because I'm trying not to interrupt people.
No, I'm sorry. And I think I thought there was a blank point, but I think it was just that my internet had frozen. I'm wondering if you did your actor ideal center after you crossed the threshold or before.
I did it after I
Okay.
crossed the threshold. Did I do it backwards?
I mean,
Not for me. I usually do it that way.
I like to, I think it depends on the person. I usually do the ideal center and let the ideal center pull me over the threshold, but
Oh, okay.
it depends. I was just wondering, that's all. Because what Alicia was saying, if you cross the threshold and then feel the urge to go, then I think you have to do the ideal center before you cross the threshold.
Okay.
But I defer to Lionel, but
Jennifer, it's just the way I learned it. I learned cross the threshold, find ideal center, because you move from yourself into your actor self, then you find the actor's ideal center as opposed to the character's ideal center.
Okay.
That's why I do it that way. But if it works the other way, whatever you feel is the truth. Kathy, I don't know if you have an opinion.
No, I don't really have an opinion. I think each of us as an artist experience things differently. And I think for me, I like to activate my actor's ideal center and then cross into that sacred space where I can work. That's just the way I like to do it. We were taught both ways by different teachers. Lionel, at least that's the way I recall it. So I'm not going to argue with anybody on that point, because I think, as I said, for artists, it works both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it may change from one monologue or scene or play to the next.
Oh, I think that's true.
And the other silly
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say, Anne, is stop being so Canadian. Don't apologize for everything you do.
All right, I won't.
In Canada, you know, if somebody steps on my toe, I say I'm sorry.
Okay. All
So
right.
ladies, do you want her to try it again and we can all mute ourselves?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, yeah, just whichever you think, you know, if you want to do Actor Ideal Center first and then cross the threshold, or
Yeah, I'm going to try it the other way this time just to see, because it's an experiment. for me
yeah,
at this
I
point.
think so. Yeah, since you did it that one way this time, try it the other way and just see what happens. Just so you feel both sensations.
Okay, and then should I go into the monologue?
I think that's what Belisha was saying, and I think you're gonna want to. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great, thank you.
Yep.
You know nothing about what it means to live for something slightly larger than yourself, so anything I say to you will sound like a foreign language. We could talk all night about what defines a good parent, and yet you wouldn't agree with anything I say. But yes, I am sure that in your version of what constitutes a good mother, you are right, and I have failed you in every possible way. But more than anything, what appalls me and depresses me is that you have never once tried to think, not once, not honestly, Peter, what it was like for me. Then.
Okay, go on to some PGs. You said
Okay.
you know a few of them. You've explored. You were in Lionel's workshop yesterday, or
I did, but there are different names than what I learned.
that's fine. What
yeah.
are the names that you've worked on?
Giving. Are these the wrong ones? Are these like the
Oh, you're
so like yesterday we did archetypal, and it was the first time I understood like the difference between archetypal and psychological.
You're thinking of archetypal actions.
Yeah, there's archetypal actions and psychological gestures. I was doing gesture yesterday. Give is an archetypal action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Falls under the same umbrella as PG.
Yeah, I don't quite. Yesterday, in you explaining giving them the quality made real sense to me for the first time, the difference between them, but I still can't like talk about them like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm not sure which physical vocabulary to choose from for this
That's
exercise.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's no big deal. I say let's we'll just try some. I can throw some out there.
That
just
would be
so
great.
You can really just see how it can help with your monologue. It may not, we don't know which one's gonna work, and so let's just play.
Okay, great. I'm just trying to get out of my head. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did want to just say, in terms of feedback from that second time through on the monologue this time, just you connecting with yourself and consciously, mindfully crossing into the space, there was so much more of you in the monologue the second time around.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
I mean, you even physically, it was like your body, you became more 360 degrees in terms of the space and your use of it, which was really quite lovely.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and there was way more depth, I thought, more spontaneity,
Yes.
and more stakes.
Yes, the stakes got higher. And I could really see Peter. I was like, oh, I see him now.
The little bastard. Okay.
Son of a bitch.
So before you begin, I'm gonna just go over just a few, so then you can already know a little bit.
Yep.
Because I know you've done open, And can you see me?
Yes.
Like so you'll start from here, from close, and every one of these gestures you come from the opposite, the polaric opposite of it. So
Right.
then with the open, you're starting from closed, and then from there you, and this, do you see me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm making sure. Okay.
I do. Yeah.
Then this will be open, right? Starting from close and then open. And if you're gonna explore close, you'll start open and the close. And remember to breathe on each one. The open and allowing that to radiate out of your fingers all the way out until you get to the height of that, then you can begin the line. So just starting with open, because I was trying to do just the first one, just with your first line, do that open gesture. And then when you feel like you can't hold it in any longer, then say your first line.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And hold the gesture as I'm saying the line, right?
Yes. Yes.
You know nothing about what it means to live for something slightly larger than yourself, so anything I say to you will sound like a foreign language. We could talk all night about what defines a good parent, and yet you wouldn't agree with me. So, yes, I'm sure that in your version of what constitutes a good parent, you are right, and I have failed you in every possible way.
And so good. And now, just for fun, you are open and then go to close. Since you're already here, breathing in with the next line and closing with that and staying here.
Okay.
So just playing with those two gestures. And also think about when you said one line and it felt like it was done, that you may need to refuel again. And so it's okay if you go line, you do the gesture line, 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 and then refuel again. And line, 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 line.
Okay.
Instead of saying a lot of lines, because it's already over. It already ended. So use it, allow yourself to refuel again, so then you can go to that next level of it.
Okay. You know nothing about what it means to live for something slightly larger than yourself, so anything I say to you will sound like a foreign language. We could debate what defines a good parent all night long, and yet we wouldn't agree. But yes, I'm sure that in your version of what constitutes a good mother, you are right, and I have failed you in every possible way.
So good. How did that feel?
Really exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
It looked as for me, it felt that your whole body was more invested into it, and that and especially when you refueled, that it gave you that radiation and that energy that you needed to go through that next line, to go through that piece, and the wheels were turning.
Yeah.
And so it felt like your entire body was a lot more invested and involved in there. And again, like Lionel was saying, that this helps you find more areas of exploration. This is not the final product, and it helps you get out of your head. And so, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say closing in on that line, the intent felt the same. Like it seemed counterintuitive to do that action on that line. The intent felt the same, but the dynamic of that moment, that's not really the word I want. Just the power of that moment had a whole new dimension to it, you know, closing in like that. So that was really great.
Also, another thing that, and it could be just the angle of your camera, but it looked as if your neck was arched like back here, and this stops the airflow. So when open, this closes your neck. So make sure it's at an angle instead of all the way back.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes perfect
Here,
sense.
not here. Like your neck back here.
Okay.
So it can keep you open. Yeah, because that will close. That will keep you closed. That's a part of your body that's closed. So that's just a little technical thing. I just want to make sure, because always keeping that air flowing throughout your entire body. Does anyone else want to say anything? Jen or Susan or?
Just that, thank you for jumping right in. We threw a lot at you.
Oh, it was great. Thank you.
Time.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, even just starting with the basic tools like crossing the threshold and the actor ideal center, I mean, you can just see how, like, it's this, I love that the tools are presented in a circle and not in a linear fashion, because like Lionel said, you could reverse the order of AIC and crossing the threshold. Like the tools are there as you need them. They are not a, you know, programmatic, systematic, do this, then do this, do this. So, thank you for letting us throw some of our circle of tools at you. And I think you're going to really, I can't wait to see you in Mod 1.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Me too.
I want to say one thing. I think that a lot of times, especially with a lot of voices coming at you, it can be overwhelming. And so, you know, I want to commend you for kind of receiving what we sent you today. And I'm understanding now how important Mod 1 is to really get the fundamentals down. And it's crucial because basically what you're doing is Mod 2 work right now without Mod 1 fundamentals.
Yeah.
So I just think that I just hope that you don't get overwhelmed and that you can just kind of let whatever experience you had today, allow yourself to have a spy back for yourself if you can't have it here, and just kind of take what we've given you, absorb it, and allow yourself to kind of come to some conclusion about where you can go from here. Because I do think that if it's really easy for us to throw a lot of tools because we get so excited, and because it's not linear, because we can go, oh, let's do this, you know. But we have to remember that some of us have not had this work as much as other people. So I commend you, and I just say take a breath and receive.
Thank you.
I think you're going to do really, really well. These tools, I could, just from what we gave you today and how you absorbed it, I think this is going to blow your world up. And I think I can just see the seeds already starting to sprout. So thank you.
Thank all of you. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I've just add my thank yous to everybody. And I'm going to try and put that polling thing up again. If relaunch poll 1, there we go. I want to continue.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Can you see it?
I never got to see that the last time.
Yeah. So if Jesse and Ann could fill that out, that would be great. And before you sign off and leave the meeting today, that would be wonderful. And then I will get the results, and I'll try and remember to do it the correct way tomorrow too. And I hope everybody will be back tomorrow for Sensations with Mr. Christopher Bohan, who's going to be putting us in breakout rooms. Very fancy.
Nice. Oh, Chris Bohan.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So as soon as you
I'm
do
very
that,
excited.
feel
I've never
free to
been in a
leave the
breakout
meeting.
room.
Bye.